The Earth's axis tilt causes different seasons on the Earth in the year: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Since this tilt is dynamic, sometimes the northern hemisphere tilts toward the sun while the southern hemisphere tilts away from the sun. And sometimes the southern hemisphere tilts toward the sun while the northern hemisphere tilts away from the sun. This movement of the earth makes the sun look moving northwards and southwards in different seasons of the year. One complete movement of the sun, north to south and then south back to north, takes about 365.25 days. This is the solar year length. With some exceptions, the lunar calendars are the earliest calendars invented. Most of them were 354 days long, and the most modified ones, like Sumerians, were 360 days long. Since the lunar calendars were less than 365 days, did not match with the seasons of the year, they drifted away from the season of the year. Then the need of the new calendar arose. The Egyptians are the first people in history to abandon the lunar calendar and embrace the solar calendar. How did this happen? It's a fascinating story. The Egyptians were living along the river Nile. The Nile was flooding, and then water decreased, leaving soil rich in silt, good for crops growing. Crops were grown, then harvested when the volume of water was low. Therefore, the yield seasons for Egyptians were three: flooding, growth, and harvest. So the river Nile was a calendar to Egyptians and replaced the lunar calendar for its accuracy. The Egyptians knew when to sow and when to harvest just by observing the Nile floods more than 6,000 years ago. To measure the Nile flooding, a farmer planted a tall reed in the mud along the river bank. He cut a notch to measure the height of the floods and then count the days until the next high water mark. The next high water mark happened almost 1 year later. This device is called nilometer. The nilometer was the most accurate calendar then. The Egyptians invented a calendar of 12 months with 30 days each. Then the year god Thoth added 5 days to the calendar. So the year calendar had 365 days, the same as the normal year today. The Egyptian astronomers observed the ascending of the brightest star in the dawn once a year, in the direct line with the rising sun. This star is Sirius. The alignment of Sirius and the sun coincided with the Nile's annual flood. By timing the appearance of Sirius, the Egyptian astronomers figured out that the solar year was longer than the 365-day calendar by a quarter of a day. The Egyptian priests, however, refused to add a quarter of a day to their 365-day calendar because their calendar was too sacred to alter. This 6 hours difference made the Egyptian calendar drift off season slowly in a cycle repeated itself every 1460 years. As far as 238 BC, King Ptolemy III ordered a leap year system by adding an extra day in every 4 years to correct the drift. The priest in charge of the calendar refused once again. By 30 BC, the Julian calendar was in use in Rome, and Rome had conquered Egypt. So Emperor Augustus forced the Egyptians to introduce the leap year system as ordered by Ptolemy III earlier. This was to bring the Egyptian calendar in line with the Roman calendar. So the Egyptian calendar became even more accurate solar calendar at that time.